Thanks for tuning in. We're going to take some time to send this out. We got Christian here with us from Grandmaster. It's going to be an interesting conversation. They're doing something really unique when it comes to kind of gamifying market caps and tying that into agents that play chess. And it's totally new to me, something we haven't really seen before. So we're going to have to pick Christian's brain and just get the details. I know there's a lot of questions on the timeline of the ins and outs and how this works. So we're going to get into all of that today. But we're going to give it a few minutes, and I'm going to send this out and we can jump straight into it. Christian, thanks for hopping on with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's good to be on.
Nice.
I'm actually a huge chess fan, so this can be a good conversation. I love seeing the like Magnus Carlsen clips on YouTube.
For sure.
Where he smashes the table because he's like no longer the world champion.
Yeah.
But I also thought this was pretty wild. I was looking at watching this video. Like I guess two AIs playing against each other. Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct. And yeah, like I think it's interesting that you bring up sort of like the chess content creation because it's blowing up right now. Like chess is a massive sport. 600 million people play it. Big creators on YouTube and Twitch in the chess scene have millions of subscribers. Like think of like Gotham Chess, Hikaru Nakamura, etc. Like these guys are not just big chess creators; they're big creators. So and AI chess is another sort of like new thing where people are watching. Whether it's chess engines or LLMs, play chess more frequently. So,
like, where did the chess like thing on content creation blow up? Was it Magnus Carlsen started getting clipped, and like, there's clips of him drunk playing chess, and like, he just takes over the game from someone who's kind of like muddying along, and then he's just like click, 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 win, and like, I don't know, like, if you know where all that came from.
There was a couple of things that really amplified chess, particularly around like 2020, 2021. One, the Queen's Gambit on Netflix came out and it was massively successful. Like millions and millions of people watched it. And then two, COVID. There was a lot of people who weren't at work, who were at home, who were bored. And chess kind of, for a lot of people, was something that you can do obsessively. I think chess can really honestly be an addiction. Like I play chess constantly, both in person and online. And I think for a lot of people when they were just like stuck at home, watching chess content and playing chess helped pass the time. So if you look at like chess.com, they have, I think, over 100 million paid subscribers. During any given time, there's usually like 30 or 40,000 people playing chess concurrently is like the estimate. So like apps that like Chess and chess.com are massive in their own right. And for us, I think the thing with chess is like the business model is really tough. Like, chess.com, they can spend like, maybe people spend a couple of dollars or maybe for more premium ones, like $15 a month. I think if we could tie crypto into it, you can attach like a very, very viable business model to a massive industry, right? Like maybe the biggest game in terms of how many people know how to play it. I see another question, what's my ELO? So on chess.com, I'm 1800. I think I'm blitzing around 15. That's my rapid rating. And then on Chess, I'm 2000. So I'm definitely an amateur player, but it's a spectrum. There's people like Magnus Carlsen, like you're talking about, on those sites, he's like 3,000 and his speed, I think they're 2,800. Yeah.
ELO work? Can you describe it real quick? Because I don't think I understand ELO.
The ELO rating, or describe what?
Yeah, the ELO rating. How is it comprised, and what is the low end, high end?
Yeah, that's a great question. So ELO is an approximation of strength. It's predictive of how often you'll beat an opponent with a different ELO, right? So the range, I think on chess.com, you can be as low as like 200, and you can go up to 3,000. So if you've never played chess, you're probably going to land somewhere in like that 300-400 range. And in terms of like the top level, unless you play consistently from the time that you're like 6 to 9 years old, you'll never reach the top level. So the best players in the official rating systems, like they go up to around 2,800. I think Magnus is probably like 2,810, 2,811 or something around that rating. And an amateur player is like someone usually between, I'd say like 1,000 to 2,000 is probably like the amateur rating. And then after 2,000, you're looking at people who are titled, which means that like you have like you either like a candidate master, an international master, a grand master, a FIDE master, those sort of descriptions. In terms of how it works on like a numeric level, if you're like a 1500 and somebody's a 1700, you're expected to win 34% of the time. They're expected to win maybe somewhere in the 60s, and then you draw a few percent. So for us, it's important because we're taking this concept of ELO, like how much better is somebody, how much is more likely they win, and we use that to stake Solana and to move money in the same way that chess moves ELO. So on the site, a lot of people, the first question is like, why is this not pay to win? Why is it like, if somebody's 3 times stronger than me, why do I want my agent playing them for money? And it's because they're putting up 3 times as much. So the expected value of each game is very similar. That's a very complex description of ELO and what we're doing, but happy to answer any questions on the chess side.
We'll definitely try to get in and break it down in a digestible manner, because it seems like there's a lot going on. But I guess seems like people have joined up, so we can get this thing kicked off. Christian, if you just want to help us kind of understand who you are, give us a little background. I know you've worked on some other crypto projects before in the past, and we'd love to hear more about that background experience.
Yeah, so I'm Christian Dittmeier. I've been involved in crypto since 2021. I've bought like a little bit of crypto before then, but me and my 2 co-founders seriously got involved in crypto around the time of NBA Top Shot, which was, I think, January 2021 is when we started building in crypto. So we built this site back then called evaluate.market. It was a portfolio site for NBA Top Shot and then eventually other Dapper Labs NFTs. And that quickly ran up to where it had hundreds of thousands of users. And so back then, we hadn't really planned to like build a startup or anything, but we had a website that had tons of users. We raised, I think, close to, $6 million over the next couple of years. And then eventually, like the NBA Top Shot bubble collapsed. We pivoted to NFT swapping. We built software for apps like Disney Pinnacle. So it's like Disney pins that you trade in app that are represented by NFTs. And then eventually we sold that tech to Doodles. We worked there for 3 months. And then in, I think around February of this year, we won an Alliance hackathon for Grandmasters, which is a launch pad where your agents play games for money, and have been building that out since. So yeah, that's my background. In terms of how I met my co-founders, we've known each other since we're in high school. So we used to play Halo 3 online on Xbox Live and meet up when we all lived in Texas. So
Halo 3, yes.
What's your favorite Halo?
Halo 3 is by far my favorite Halo. Some additional lore is,
of course, you have a 50.
What was that?
Did you have a 50? There's like 50.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So not only that, but my co-founder Swiftkill, Alex, played professionally. So you could Google him and see him like holding up like they won like one of the MLG combines. He was at Optic Gaming before we sort of got into crypto. So he's definitely the best out of the 3 of us, but we all played very competitively in high school.
It's funny, it's kind of off topic here, but they say the best crypto traders are the guys that were like really good and locked in at gaming back in the day. I'm not sure I don't even know if you have a take on that or if you think that's true, but I guess it kind of makes sense just based on the time you're sitting in front of your computer and dedication to some craft, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I think like even if you look at like Fortnite, Counter-Strike, RuneScape, anytime where people spend a lot of time, I think people who are determined to be good at games, like who are determined to get a 50 in Halo 3 or to reach the top level of gaming, they tend to take that same sort of determination to other fields. And so trading, I think, is similar to that. And then too, a lot of them, like particularly people who are really into RuneScape and games like that, they already have like a very good framework around digital assets and how to trade them, particularly in sort of these smaller markets, right, where there's a lot of volatility and insiders and things like that. So I do think people who are sort of gaming native tend to do very well in terms of the transition to crypto.
Well, and I guess this is something that's not directly maybe a question about Grandmasters, but where do you think like the emergence of crypto and AI or crypto and gaming are kind of headed? Do you think there's a massive future there?
Yeah, I think there's 2 different directions it could go. It could go from sort of these major gaming studios implementing crypto, or it could be platforms like us that are sort of almost like indie financial games that start with crypto and try to gamify it, right? It's difficult for me to predict who's going to win. Obviously, there's been tons of different Web3 games, and very few of them have. It's difficult to build a game, so it's I think it's difficult to predict. But things that are more exciting for us is like, can we start with some of the fun around speculation, around launching digital assets, around sort of like the AI meta, and can we gamify it and make it enjoyable versus trying to, I guess, retrofit an existing game to sort of adapt crypto as a back end. But it remains to be seen. I know a lot of people kind of point to like, oh, maybe there's this GTA 6 like game that comes in and implements it. We'll probably see both of them converge, right? Like over time, if crypto proves to be such a great model, and if people expect to have ownership over in-game assets in a more tangible way, then I'd imagine you'll see games like us, games like what Virus or Pandemic Labs is building, sort of emerge and come from the crypto side, and then you'll probably also see traditional gaming studios implement crypto more and more as it becomes a better and more accepted standard.
All right, very cool. Let's get into the Grandmaster then, the platform. You got a pretty impressive background, so that's super cool, and congratulations on your success. I remember playing Top Shot back in the day and collecting some of those cards, so it's just pretty cool to hear that name brought up again, and awesome to see that you made such a big footprint. But tell us about Grandmaster. What is Grandmaster? How can we get involved? And what do you like? What's its purpose? What does it do?
Yeah, so you can think of Grandmaster similar to like a Hollow World or Virtuals, where it's an agent launchpad. I think the big difference with it is that after you launch these assets, there's guaranteed price action. So you go to the site, you upload a photo, and we create you an anime agent, and it immediately starts playing games for money. And what this means is that instead of like, I think for us, the biggest thing that was discouraging about launchpads is you'd launch a token, and unless you shield it heavily, it would just stay at 6K market cap and not move. Whereas when you launch these, they immediately start playing games for liquidity. So we have had agents that people have launched for like 0.2 that go up to Sol because they've won games. The biggest distinction in terms of or the biggest reason that some agents are better than others is that the market cap determines the strength. So when you're watching your agent, and if it's scoring an upset, you can bid and buy it, increase its market cap, and it'll play on a move basis. It'll play stronger. So that's the big distinction is instead of it's an agent launchpad where your agents are actually doing things for money versus just sort of being vehicles for people to speculate on.
Yeah, that's really crazy. It's definitely not a concept we've ever seen before. What sparked this interest for you to make such a dynamic like liquidity pool? Like, what sparked this for you?
Yeah, for us it was so Alex and I we're super into all the launch pads. Like he was really big on Bonk. We traded on Pump Fun. And the biggest question we had for ourselves was like, why don't we launch tokens? And I think there's a couple things. One, you feel like you're like putting your brand at risk, or you feel like you have to go shill this thing. So for us, we're like, oh, why? Like we wish we could launch tokens that we didn't have to sort of market or do things for. And then the other thing I think initially we're like, okay, what was the token that we'd like to launch? And we were thinking like maybe we launch two tokens, like a white token and a black token. And if they played games for money back and forth, it would be a fun way to sort of gamify the launch experience. But I think one thing that we really want to stress communicating is launching on Grandmasters does not feel like launching on Pump or these other things. It's super fun. All you need is a photo, and we create an agent for you. And it's a game character, so it's not something where I think we've seen this like whether it was like Clout in the past, Friend Tech, other things. Like a lot of times when you launch a token, it feels like it comes with this baggage of like, oh, this is my brand, or this represents time, like with time.fun or things like that. Which I think these tokens are great, but a lot of people I think are looking for more of like a fun launchpad experience, and that's what we try to lean into. Is hey, come to our site, launch a game character. And you can trade to impact its performance, but it plays games for money, and hoping to kind of bring that fun experience versus the traditional launch experience where it's hey, launch a token and then go shill it to people and dump it on them, if that makes sense. So that's the inspiration behind it. Was like we're gonna launch two tokens that play chess back and forth. We got into Alliance through the hackathon and then expanded into this more virtual Hollow World type launchpad.
That's super interesting. I think you make a great point. We've had that conversation, and Ben specifically from Believe has the conversation of how do you destigmatize launching a coin, and this totally feels like making like an in-game profile rather than launching a token, which is like two completely different things. So it's really fascinating how you kind of did that, and I love that format. Do you think who do you think your main target audience is with this then? Like your average player just trying to, launch a fun profile, or like maybe a meme coin who wants to have a dynamic market cap that's always kind of active, and they would launch a profile on here.
Yeah, it's flexible for both. I mean, we're targeting the creator experience, which I think is sort of is non-consensus, right? Like if you think of like Alana and other things, they're very much publicly optimizing for traders. We also want to really consider creators. So when you launch on our platform, you get 0.5% of trading fees, and you get all of the winnings of your agent. So if your agent goes and gets 2 SOL, you're able to claim it versus like traders who are speculating on their site. it's not to say that traders can't, like if you don't own an agent, you can certainly speculate on it and buy and sell it like any other meme coin. But creators have the benefit of like you're able to get 0.5% of trading fees and also any winnings associated with your agent if it performs well. But yeah, our target audience, it's funny. Like we launched and we expected this to be more of a fit for a lot of crypto traders. And some of our biggest users who are coming back and checking the site every day, like this is their first crypto platform. So, I think that's something that we're considering is like, oh, should we make this even easier for normies to come? And for us, that's more exciting, right? Like that was what was so cool about NBA Top Shot was not that like, the same 2,000 people were trading on it that were trading on other crypto platforms. It was the fact that it was like bringing in NBA fans and people who are just interested in like new platforms. So yeah, I think our target audience is just people who want to like, who are interested in sort of AI, who are interested in chess, who are interested in like launch pads and crypto, but don't want to go through that step of like launching a project or a brand or creator token, who just want to have like sort of the more fun side while maintaining the upside of like, yes, people could bid up your token. And yes, like you'll earn trading fees against your agent.
So I'm watching this game here, and this is you versus someone else. As somebody who's not looked at this before, walk me through what's happening here. So you're basically playing this bonk character. You have a win-loss stake here where you can with different SOL denominations. Then you have market cap, liquidity, and then on here it looks like it's some sort of kind of like multiplier based on the outcomes of each move. Can you just walk us through what's happening on screen here?
Yeah, I'll go left to right. So the left part of the screen, that bar that's moving, that's an analysis bar, and what that represents is how likely you are to win this game, like who's better in the position. So if you read the text, it says it's winning soon because I have an extra queen, right? Like the white has one rook, I have a rook and a queen, so I'm winning very soon, right? Like I'm much better in this position. So as a trader, okay, like the most likely outcome of this game is that Christian is going to win, right? The player with the black pieces. On the right, you can see the game stakes. So I am approximately 5 times stronger or 5 times more likely to win than this agent I'm playing bonk. So I'm putting more up at stake, right? Or maybe, I'm sorry, not 5 times as likely. I'm close to twice as likely, right? So if I win the game, I get 0.03 SOL. If they win the game, they get 0.05 SOL. And that comes directly out of the bonding curve of these agents. So that's I think I covered all that. And then on the bottom right, that's if you were to own my token, you could see what's the current value, what's the current predicted outcome. And it looks like I just won. So I just won 0.03 SOL. And then so you're able to kind of see what's like your personal impact of this game, if that makes sense.
Right. And so the market cap is people could either bet on you winning that game or they could buy the Christian token. Is that correct?
So all of it is just buying and selling the Christian token. So you can buy my token. If these are stronger, by the way, like let's say my token's at 1 million market cap and I'm playing another 1 million market cap, the game could be for thousands of dollars. It could be for, like 10 SOL or more. So you're able to buy and sell my token. One of the big distinctions versus it just being a prediction is that your buy impacts the game, right? So if you were to put a couple SOL into my token, my agent would start playing better because the market cap increases. But it's a good distinction. It is buying and selling tokens versus
right. Okay, so the market cap is the ELO then. I saw that on your X profile for the account for this. So how does that work? So as the market cap increases, the performance of the agent improves?
Yep, that's exactly right. And it's not completely deterministic. Like their upsets do happen. So this agent I'm playing right here, even though I'm stronger, I'll probably lose 20 or 30% of the games against this agent for higher stakes, right? Because they earn more on the wins. But you're exactly right, and it's move by move. So it's not set at the beginning of the game. If an agent's at a 5K market cap and then somebody dumps a ton into them, like they could start playing like a grandmaster immediately in the next move.
Right. So is there any training that you could you play against Christian to improve it, or is it solely based on market cap?
Yeah, for now it's solely based on market cap. We've thought like there's probably ways that we, if there's anything that people are doing that's value add on the site, like maybe in the future something like staking, etc. We could totally just put that money into the curve and improve it. But for now, it's complete. It's a trading game, if that makes sense. It's completely financial. It's a game of tug of war in terms of you and an opponent who's willing to I guess invest into their token. And it can go both ways, right? Like you can buy if you notice your opponent is buying up their token, you can buy their token and then dump it on them later as they continue to buy. So there's a bunch of different strategies. There's a ton of game theory in terms of like the inputs are what are the fees, what are like what's the market cap to ELO conversion rate, what's the game state, so like who's winning, how likely are they to win, and you can use that to form like very active trading strategies. Or if you're not interested in that, you can just launch an agent and then passively watch it. So I think it facilitates sort of two styles of participation: the more active trading approach, and also just sort of the fun. I'm going to launch an agent and see if it wins money.
So walk me through the trading strategies on this. Like, are there market inefficiencies where someone can come in and basically say like, oh, that outcome is underpriced, I'm going to go and bet on it? How do you think about someone who's deploying capital on this?
Yeah, I think there's tons of different approaches. I think there could be metas within it, right? Like if you notice, if there's players that are coming in and are waiting for the game to start, bidding up their agent so it's stronger, and then selling it later on to pair lower again, you could go through and take advantage of them by buying before them, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think for now, what we've seen, most of the players are passive, right? Are just launching and then watching and having fun with it. But there's tons of different strategies I think that you could approach that have strengths and weaknesses in terms of like actively impacting the game via trading.
And so what's the next steps with this? Is your goal to like get someone like Magnus on this app and kind of have these professional chess players and you're able to literally bet on their agent in live time and kind of interact with that? Or like, how do you scale this to the masses of the chess world?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think I'm a big believer in one, talking to users. So we go through in our community chat and just ask people, what do you like? What do you not like? And then iterating the product. And I think things that we think would be very useful just for the Launchpad component in general are charts. And then another thing we're looking at is possibly graduation. So can we move either all or a portion of the liquidity at a certain market cap to a Radium or Meteora so that the tokens kind of have like exposure to like the broader market and broader tools like Deck Screener and pricing and Phantom, et cetera. So we're iterating on the product. We're saying, okay, what do people like? What can we make better? Can we make the gameplay experience better? So that's one thing we're doing. And then two, on the marketing front, I think a lot of it is about aligning incentives. So right now we know, okay, we have people who are like on our site for hours and watching and having fun with it that aren't sharing it. Why aren't they sharing it? And how do we incentivize them to do it? Whether it's like a referral program similar to maybe like what like a Photon or Axiom does. So that's our big focus right now. And then I also see questions about the token in the chat. I think, for us, like we try to stay focused on the product because I think that lays the groundwork for integration in terms of in the future. So, I think if we have a successful product, things like establishing more integration on the token side, which can look like a lot of different things. I think you need a successful product first. You need a product that grows when people use it. So that's been our focus, is just like, okay, how do we make the experience more engaging, and how do we get people to share it? And then after that, like, how do we throw gasoline on it through marketing, whether it's KOL deals, partnerships, going to different communities, et cetera.
Yeah, I think you put it really well. Ultimately, with a platform like yours that's evolving and developing over time, and it's in this growing, new, unique market, it's nice to be able to kind of keep that that positioning where you can kind of go whatever direction you want with the token. And there's so many implementations, and it can almost be hard to, put a rock solid implementation on early on when there's so much you can figure out down the road. And so I don't always think it's necessary for projects to push toward the token implementation right out the gate. So I kind of like how you're keeping it liquid and keeping it available to jump back and forth with. Hopefully I put that well enough, but very cool.
Totally. Yeah. I think for us, it's about keeping a long-term or keeping our priorities long-term and making sure that like we have a bias towards shipping things and improving versus announcements, because eventually a lot of times the announcement game dries up or the meta changes, but the more we can do to build like a long-term sustainable product that's like a staple in crypto that people really enjoy, it makes everything else easier. And we're still very young, right? Like this is a week-old product. It'll probably look very different in a few months than it does today. But I think one thing that we've really liked about launching on Believe is the community impact, right? Like from day one, having people who care about the project, who are trying it, who are giving feedback. To me, that's been a highlight, and it's been great to sort of watch the community form over the last couple of weeks. And we really want to expand that, grow the community, keep listening to users, and going from there.
How long have you been working on this?
So we started in the hackathon in February. So I guess we're about, 6-7 months in right now.
Okay, cool. About 6-7 months. Yeah. Josh, you had something?
Yeah, so I saw some questions around the core experience here. So I found this user here, a couple things. It shows the estimated value and then the market cap. Can you just explain kind of how people should think about these two metrics?
Yeah, so essentially this user came in and they uploaded a photo that created an agent, right? And then they looks like they bought up a good portion of it. So if you click into that agent, we could probably get more information on it. Go ahead and scroll down to holders right next to history. Great. So yeah, so they bought 64% of this agent. So they own that. Other people have bought in. And it's exactly like a meme coin on Pump.fun or another launchpad, where they own that percentage of it. The market cap is determined based off of, I think just like a simple product market making curve. So they have 64% of it. They're able to claim the winnings. It looks like this agent has lost a little bit of SOL, but it's played many games. And then, yeah, you can see here, like how much has it increased in price from the minimum sort of like deployment at 0.2. And yeah, this agent is constantly playing games for money. So if you go back to the profile page, you'll see how much do they own, what's the value of those tokens, and then also like what's the liquidity, right? Because whenever you own like a big chunk of a token, and there's price impact when you sell back into it, right? So they have $31,000 of this token, but there's 11,000 in liquidity, and obviously based off if they were to sell, there's a price impact based off.
Yeah, math takes over at that point.
Exactly.
Okay, and so I just trying to like understand the dynamic here. So this user is this person on X. Mm-hmm. The behavior that we're wanting to see from users is they create a profile, they create their agent, now they have a market cap. Ideally, they're sharing it out to their audience who are also buying into it. So then the market cap increases, so does its win rate, right?
Right.
Because it becomes more performant. Okay, so you want people to come along, be like, yeah, this is like my agent, it's going. What decides it making money or not making money at that point? Because obviously if it has a higher market cap, the payouts are lower. So I'm just trying to understand if it's like kind of like a almost random in terms of like it's winning based on that ratio, or is it during in game that you want to see a market cap swing to like really kind of make those payouts, the probability of those payouts go up?
Yeah, so that's a great question. One, as more agents are deployed, there's skill-based matchmaking. So ideally, with more, right now, this token is much more valuable than the rest. This is sort of like our runner on the platform, if you will. But over time, as more agents are launched, they'll play market cap or tokens that have similar market caps. In terms of what impacts whether or not they make money, it depends on your strategy. If you're passively launching them, then it's almost purely chance, right? Like it's a simulated chess game based off of ELO. If you're actively trading, you can impact that by strategically moving the ELO during the game based off of like how likely you are to win or score an upset. I guess that's a little bit more of a complex explanation, but yeah. So like this agent, when this agent plays like the second highest rated agent, they play games for like $50, I think around 0.25 SOL. So it isn't just like it's not completely random how they match up. And as the number of agents on the site increase, the more you'll see like the bigger agents play for higher stakes versus games like this where like I think this agent will make like 0.005 if they win and lose 0.003 if they lose. But yeah, there's I think one question that we've had just internally is like, how public should we make sort of the matchmaking system, the game stakes calculations, everything that sort of drives the game? Because if we publish it, I think it'll make it easier for people to understand sort of like the strategy around it. The downside of it is that like programmatic traders will have an advantage because they can sort of build sort of game theory optimal, sort of, like drive the market cap based off of sort of GTO play style. So it's something that we might explore in the future, is just like more detailed docs in terms of how, like what determines how much is put up at stake, et cetera. But for now, it's a little bit like we're hoping that people experiment with it and sort of deploy their own strategies.
That's really interesting. So there is actually an edge involved for people that play it right, rather than just purely chance, like you said.
Yeah. You have complete control depending on your amount of capital of the ELO at any given moment. So I think there's more opportunities the more agents that are launched, right? Like if Tez is playing somebody who's also 21-27, then they're both playing for like 0.5 SOL, and there's less fee sensitivity in terms of like individual trades to move the game. But it's very much like, another thing to remember is they play around 100 games per day. So it's very much like, I think some of it too is sort of market cap optimization over a period of time versus like the game to game results, because a lot of it is it's a simulated chess game. So it's very difficult to sort of force an outcome on an individual game.
Josh, can you kind of go look through some of the wallets and stuff? I'm wondering if there's a player that's been able to successfully kind of find an edge and sort of have a consistent win rate or consistently make profit. I'm trying to see if that's...
Yeah, I can actually, I think if you scroll down, I think I can show you a player who's had good results. So we can see agents here. Let's look at the one right there. Go up a little bit. Or I mean, let's pick on Kai Micah Mills. It's a friend of mine. I know from Crypto the Game. He's the one with the PFP next to Cat the Cat. So this agent's up 1 SOL. If you click on his profile to the right, it's a little bit small text. I don't know if that one works. A little bit further down. All right, sorry. It's to the right, but it's in the middle. So
yeah, no worries. Sorry. Do you want to screen share maybe?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, you wanted me to click over his P&L here?
Yeah, I was hoping. So on the right, next to creator, it's in the coin detail. So you see the buy and sell.
Oh yeah, sorry. This is yeah.
Yep. Now go a little bit up. It's a small picture.
Okay. Oh yeah.
To the right, down.
This is me more than anyone. So. Okay. Oh,
there we go.
Perfect. So this profile, for instance, has launched 2 agents, right? One of them has won 1.06 SOL and the other has lost 0.42 SOL. And there's a lot of examples like this. I mean, it goes both ways, right? This is a PvP game. So there are people who launch multiple agents and lose, 0.2 SOL on each of them. There's people who've launched like 3 or 4 agents and all of them are positive. So it's very much, I don't want to come in here and say like you launch an agent and you're like, guaranteed to make money or anything. It's PvP. But this is an example of a user that's launched and then, checks back in and can claim, 1.2 SOL and has lost 0.4 on the, 1.06 SOL and has lost 0.4 SOL on the other.
Interesting. So clearly we're in the pretty early stages of this. If you had an outlook or a roadmap or something to give us a little forward-looking idea, what are you guys kind of doing for your next steps? What's the next moves for Grandmaster?
Yeah, so I think like what we did is we've taken the launch. We've had a week to kind of review people's feedback. I think the number one thing I'm excited about, if you click on that leaderboard tab or on the menu on the top, something that's really exciting, and then if you scroll up, something that's really exciting for us is that it's a launchpad that has organic trading activity like you would on a Pumped Up Fund or Bags app or Believe. But we also have these games in this sort of automated or guaranteed volume based off of the games, right? So it's a really good business model, and I think it'll give us a lot of flexibility in terms of right now we have 200 agents that have done 150K in volume. You can imagine if there was 2,000 agents, all of a sudden we're doing $1.4 million in volume guaranteed per week, as long as if there's that many agents with liquidity. So I think it's a great way in terms of like the benefits for users is guaranteed price action. The benefit for us is that there's sort of this simulated volume that the platform can take fees on for facilitating the games. So for us, like we love the model. People are sharing their agents. So we've had like over 100 shares on 200 agents. So we know that people are sharing them. The last thing is like, how do we turn our users into evangelists? Like, how do we get people who use the app to share with their friends? How do we incentivize that? And I think the roadmap that we've seen that other sort of, whether it's launch pads or Telegram bots or exchanges have done is referral systems. So for us, it's like, okay, let's improve the game experience. Let's make these more fun to watch, more engaging as an app. Let's make it to where users want to share with each other and have a clear incentive to do that. And then go from there. And then also just like any feedback we've had on like, hey, I want to see charts. Hey, I think these should graduate after a certain market cap, et cetera. So that's the idea. It's just keep going through, keep shipping and making the product better every week.
Yeah, I almost feel like, because it doesn't even feel like launching a token in a sense. Like I said earlier, it kind of just feels like a player profile or something. I would be really interested to see if you guys can manage to get a partnership with some sort of like, I don't do chess, so I'm not sure what's the big platforms or websites on there, but like partnering with a website and having people create their individual agents and just kind of have those, it feels so destigmatized. I think there's a huge opportunity there, and I'd be interested to see what you guys do with that.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think like it's a big problem in chess right now. I mean, I guess it's fair to frame it as that, is that players outside of the top 10 make very little money and have like very little opportunities for sponsorships and whatnot. So I'd love to kind of bring this model to those players and be like, hey, like make a player in your likeness, and your community can have fun like trading it, and you can create, you can earn fees either through referrals or just on your agent itself. So I'd love to see more people launch. I think it is exactly like you're saying, it, like destigmatizing launching digital assets, I think would go a big way. And I think things like our platform, where it's a game character, it's similar to an MMO, more similar to an MMO than like launching a on whether it's like a meme coin pad or project pad, etc. So yeah, that's totally in line with what we're thinking, is like, let's get this in front of communities that aren't crypto focused, that aren't just traders, and encourage them to have fun with it.
So Dom, just say, I want to ask a quick question on this. So the ideal outcome is, let's say one of these chess influencers creates an agent based on their likeness. They then are like live streaming it. They're like, oh yeah, my agent's winning or whatever. And then, maybe the agent starts losing. So then people are like coming in trying to buy it up to help it improve. Like, is that the ideal dynamic that you're hoping for on this platform? Is you have two groups of people with two agents and their own audiences kind of competing against each other by trading the market cap?
Yeah, I think I think it's very streamable in a sense. So I think that is an avenue. I'm not sure if that's like the only path to marketing this to people, but that is one. I think like if there are chess creators out there that are interested, like it's definitely something that's fun to watch. And there's precedent for this too. Like chess.com, for instance, has bots that people can play. Granted, it's not open to anybody. It's not like our site where like anybody can go and create their own. But some of like the top chess players and celebrities and athletes do have bots on chess.com, and people make content of like themselves playing their bot. So I think there totally is an option, or totally is an avenue to approach chess creators and be like, hey, you can like create a little like, bot version of you that, it's like a digital chess hustler, and you can make content of like watching your bot play and criticizing its good moves, or, admiring when it plays strong. And then there is that community engagement avenue, or sort of that community engagement mechanic where your audience can trade and you benefit from that, right? Like you earn money on those trades. So I think it's win-win-win in terms of the platform, the creators, and their audiences.
And Christian, is there going to be some more like customizations in the future? For example, if I wanted to launch a Grandmaster agent, but I wanted a really unorthodox play style that might be, do really well against a Magnus play style or something like that, are you going to add different play styles or types of, stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think on the customization right now, you're able to pick your first move as white. So chess players, like, openings are sort of like, there's like an identity piece with it, right? Like I play D4, and D4 is known to be like more positional, less sharp, more like oftentimes more closed games. So like you are able to control that. The personality right now is only driving like sort of the commentary engine behind it. So like, how does your agent talk about the game? But yeah, I'd love for there to be more ways. We've thought about like, could we group these agents into types, and like almost like Pokemon, right? Or like certain types of personalities have like a multiplier or play stronger versus other ones. So I think there's a lot of design space to explore on the customization part. But for now, it's more of a trading game, right? Like it's more of like managing your ELO via trading your agent tokens.
It would also be pretty.
Hey, the 4-move checkmate is my favorite open as white. Try and run that. But most people know how to defend that.
Sure.
But when you're playing against your nephew who's younger than you, you're like, yeah, they don't know.
Totally.
I
Sorry.
think Revenge Urge, I don't know if I pronounced that name right, said, will there be other games besides chess in the future? I think that's a pretty interesting question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I do think that's another thing we can explore is like this model, the sort of the agent launchpad that play games could be applied to any game that can be simulated at different strengths. So I think for us, like we were thinking like poker would probably be a next step, right? Like nobody owns poker, so you could create an agent poker game. There's big parallels in terms of like people into crypto Twitter often are into poker. But yeah, I mean, these agents could technically play rock, paper, scissors if we wanted them to. And but yeah, it's something that like we want to prove it out with chess because chess is just such a massive game. There's 600 million players. There's a lot of sort of open source software that can help you simulate it at different strengths. But totally, I think it's something what we want to explore is we don't want to just limit it to chess. So in the future, it's very possible that we launch a similar product for different games, whether it's poker or tic-tac-toe or whatever.
I do have a question on this because I see this scalable out to are you building just a platform that other games can be played off it, or I guess you're saying it's more than just chess, obviously, but like where does this go in the future? Like, do you just see people betting on agents playing games just because like there's it's mathematically there's certain outcomes that can happen? And then I have a follow-on question to that is like recently I saw this thing where there was basically these farms in I don't know Eastern Europe where people thought they were watching sports games of online sports betting casinos, but in reality they were all rigged and they were just kind of all like BS games, like two guys kicking a ball between each other kind of thing. Like, do you see like is that going to replace that industry? Like this replace that industry, or like how do you think about agents playing these games versus humans playing these games and people betting on it?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the biggest advantage, and particularly within chess, because online cheating in chess is pretty rampant, and even if even if the numbers that these sites publish, like a few percent are true, the paranoia around it is much worse than like maybe the actual cheating. So one thing we really like about sort of the agent warfare model is it's completely fair, and it's completely tamper proof, if that makes sense. One thing I've learned in crypto is that people will speculate on pretty much anything. I remember there was like tokens related to hamsters racing. It's difficult to predict what people will and will not bet on. But yeah, I think success for us though, I think is we really want to, similar to what Dom was saying, we really want to prioritize destigmatizing launching, having people have fun with it, and making and letting people create characters and engage with the game. And then I think over time, as the site becomes more popular, I think its viability as a medium for people to trade and speculate on increases.
And now, kind of a follow-up question that I think is kind of works with the whole cheating thing we were talking about. Me as a person, if I saw an agent doing really well, I think naturally I kind of want to just try my luck against it, play it personally. Is there going to be a human aspect involved at all where I can go and play these agents and bet on them, or is that not at all in the picture?
No, it's good feedback. A lot of people do want to play. So I think it's difficult to do sort of human versus human for money, right? Because a lot of times it just becomes like the only people who make money are people who are cheating. It's very easy to cheat, right? Like anybody with an iPhone could beat Magnus Carlsen in a game of chess if they were openly cheating. So, but yeah, I do think that we've considered like, is there ways that maybe like you can intercede for one move in a game or re-roll a move, if that makes sense. But we want to make sure that we're not putting genuine users at a disadvantage, right? Like we don't want to make it to where if you go in Grandmasters, people that are botting it have an advantage over you, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, it's something that we're actively considering is, yeah, it'd be fun if you could play your agent chess. Maybe it's something where it's like, oh, you pay like 0.001 SOL and you play your agent chess and it gets better because you're putting that into the bonding curve or whatnot. There's a lot of things we can explore. But generally, I think what we're excited is like we think the sort of battle bots model of AI agents, right? Whether it's us or things like monsters.fun, where it's like sort of like these AI agent Pokemon sort of characters battling each other. We think that's going to grow, and we think that more people are going to be like excited about watching that. The same way that people were excited, like Elon Musk recently, about watching Grok play, ChatGPT chess in a tournament. So, but yeah, I think there's probably room to add more human interaction on the platform.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. I don't know why, but when you were talking about that, it brought me to a thought about chess boxing, I think it's called. Have you seen chess boxing?
I have, yeah.
Is that something you guys would even consider doing, where it's like maybe one round of chess and then you go to boxing match between
Yeah, I gotta
stages?
Google this. I've heard about this, but people gotta see this on screen.
Yeah, so I live in New York, and we have a chess boxing. I think it's like Gleason's gym. So I know people who chess box. It's super interesting. I think, yeah, I do like the idea of like almost like party games. Like, have you played like Mario Party or some of these other ones where it's like sometimes they'll like randomly roll a game and then like that's what everyone plays? There's probably opportunities if we were to add more games to do a platform like that, right? Where it's like, okay, like two people are paired. They're, like it rolls a game and it's like, oh, they're playing heads up poker for this much soul, or oh, they're playing chess. Boxing, I think, would be difficult because we'd have to build a boxing game engine from scratch. But yeah, there is chess is definitely exploding, and yeah, I do like the more novel. Like, there's chess influencers who box each other. It makes it interesting.
That's just so funny to me. But yeah, dude, what does your roadmap look like? Have you guys published a roadmap or anything for the people to kind of understand your next steps, or is that just something you're keeping to yourselves?
Yeah, if you go to our community group, I post updates on like usually just focused on like product oriented, on like what are we trying to accomplish in the next week or two. But yeah, the things I mentioned earlier are top of mind. Like, one, getting growth incentive right. Like, when you have an app that you find some users that really love it and are spending tons of hours on it, you have to figure out how do you get those people to become brand ambassadors, right? Like, how do you get them to share with other people? We're also looking at, I think we could have done a better job on launch of like having a better sort of crypto Twitter strategy, right? So instead of it just being like, hey, we have like Solana and Alliance and everyone like lined up to retweet, we should probably be finding creators who are interested in the platform and then like partnering with them directly versus relying purely on organic. And right now, like, crypto Twitter is much different right now than it was when we started 4 years ago, right? Like, before there was like Kaido and InfoFi and like all these sort of paid growth strategies. So that's the goal for us, is like, let's make the product so good that our users turn into more users. And then after that, I think it's like, what incentives can we kind of bolt on top of that make it more shareable, more engaging, etc.
Yeah, very cool. I think that covers all the bases that I was really looking at, Josh, unless you have any last minute questions.
No, I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around where this kind of goes. And I do see the challenges with, let's say, betting around chess, is there is the ability to cheat. And especially after we've seen kind of some of these other casino mini games have collusion issues, to have agent to agent playing. But like, if it's a non-physical sport where like you either put the ball in the hole for golf or not, like that's like pretty, you can't really fudge that. But something like chess, like, yeah, intellectual sports, you almost have to have it pure synthetic on synthetic, or else it's just kind of like, there's always that opportunity for collusion or cheating. This is very interesting. I mean, chess is kind of like a pure game that everyone understands, has a huge user base, but it's scalable into other types of digital, intellectual games for sure. It's fascinating. I mean, this is really fascinating. As someone who's a chess fan, personally, I love chess. So, and I play it fairly regularly in the last little bit. This is just, yeah. So
we gotta get a Josh. We gotta get a MINT Josh profile on Grandmasters.
Yeah, yeah. No kidding. Dom, we have to Dom, you don't play chess at all. You've never played chess?
No, I don't. I don't know. I think maybe I've like watched my uncle play like one time or something, but back in the day, but no.
Yeah, you're different. I think you're a different generation than I am. I'm like the when I was going to school, there was no like internet. There was internet, but there's no like, people didn't have phones. So it's like, yeah, you're on the chess club or you play hockey. That was basically it. So,
yeah, well, Christian, the nice thing, Dom, is that Grandmasters is probably the only chess app where you don't have to know how to play chess at all
True.
to have fun and enjoy it. So definitely check it out. I'd love your guys' feedback. If you do use the app, let me know. And yeah, it was awesome to be able to come on the show.
Dude, thanks for hopping on. I think right now, like you said, it's you're really looking for a lot of feedback and just ways to grow this thing. And I think you were really receptive to just kind of some of the conversations we had here, and that's pretty cool to see. So I'm excited, just like Josh is, with the direction you guys are going to take this. And I think my biggest takeaway and what's really exciting me the most is the fact that you have completely destigmatized launching a token. It doesn't feel like a token. It feels like an agent. It feels like a character or profile, and I think that that's really nice. And there's something to be said about that. So congratulations on the launch, and excited to see what you guys do.
Awesome.
Totally.
Thank you so much, guys.
Christian, I might just direct you to the chat real quick. Is there anything in chat that you want to address that you didn't? I know Revenge Nureg was great to put in a bunch of content there. Just want to make sure you have one last scan of that to make sure.
Yeah, I'm looking at Revenue Reg. I'm looking at his comments. I think we went over most of them. He made a suggestion for volleyball or team sport as a game. Yeah, I think that over time, like as we prove the model out, there will be opportunities to a slap game, Dana White's
Power slap.
Yeah, and he's just said. Yeah, so I think that over time, it's all like a lot of times when you're launching products and when your startup starting out, like you're just looking for validation on what's working, what's not, and then you can experiment and move from there. But yeah, it's awesome coming on the show. I love being able to see like the community comments as we go. I think that's super cool. But yeah, I'd love to keep in touch, and then maybe in the future I'd love to come back on and give you guys updates.
Definitely, please do. All right, Christian, we'll catch you, man.
Awesome, thank you guys.